Hi Stephanie, how you going?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Congratulations on such I guess you could call it an epic run, just recently.
Yes, yes. It was fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've definitely got a lot of questions about it, but before I do, how long have you been like a runner for?
So I started running a little bit here and there when I was a teenager, but then I got involved in the wrong crowd. Stopped running and didn't pick it back up until my 20s. But as far as ultra running, that's brand new. Like in 2022 was my first ever ultra race.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one thing to go out and run park run every week and maybe train up to the marathon, but what attracted you to the longer distances and wanting to do ultra running?
So I had an opportunity. A friend gave me their registration for a 55K. It was the Antelope Canyon 55K in Page, Arizona. And he was like, I haven't run in a long time, and you run pretty regularly. Do you want my registration? And I was like, why not? I've never done anything like this before. And so I just went out there, had no idea what I was doing. But it was like life changing. I had so much fun. It was like through the thick desert sand, and you got to run down through like Horseshoe Bend, which is absolutely beautiful. And I was like, when I was about 30 miles in, I was like, this is like a blast. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was having so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I think I found my thing. But then I kind of put it on pause for a little bit, paced some friends in their races. And it wasn't until I paced a friend in the Cocodona in 2023 that I was like, oh, this is it. This is what life is all about. It's about being out here in the wilderness, like encouraging each other, keeping each other moving and going and telling each other crazy stories. And so then I was like, I have to see this whole course
Yeah.
because I only got to see 60 miles of it. So that's kind of how I got the bug.
Yeah, cool. So, I mean, when you ran that very first one, the 55 Ks, like, I mean, it sounds like you absolutely loved it, but were you also like, I guess, pleasantly surprised by like how well you did?
Yes. So I didn't know because nobody told me how to run these things. I thought you needed to run the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I also didn't know you could like stop at aid stations and like, you know, change your shoes, change your socks, like whatever you need to do. So I just ran through the whole thing. I I didn't stop once, and I mean I grabbed a snack, but I ate it like on the go, and so that's I was very surprised how well I did. I had no idea until I finished that I did as well as I did.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned that you did the Cocodona 250 last year, but you also did Bigfoot 200 and another 100 miler too. So you had a massive year.
Mhm.
But I mean, you must have learned a whole lot doing all those huge races as well.
Yeah. So when I signed up to do the Cocodona in 2024, I hired a coach so that I could learn how you're supposed to do this properly. And I had a lot of, training around it and then guidance with like nutrition.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've learned so much. Every race, I think part of the reason I'm so in love with this sport is that you really you learn so much about yourself.
Mm,
And it doesn't matter sometimes how well trained you are for a race, anything can happen.
mm.
And so there's like this power of flexibility that you really have to like adapt to different situations, no matter what kind of race it is.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you remember when you first heard about backyard ultras for the first time?
Yes. I might have said something like that sounds like insanity.
Yeah,
I will never ever do something like that.
right,
And and then I started watching them and I
right.
was like, wow, that's so intriguing. I want to try it. Yes.
So,
So that's yeah.
Yeah, so when was that? And when you say you started watching them, like were you watching live streams or did you actually go to some and crew or how did that happen?
So I was watching live streams.
Yeah.
I think I don't remember what year it was. Biggs has always been kind of like, that's fascinating
Mm,
to watch people and watch them just get better and better every single year and go further and further. And so, but I was always like, this is craziness.
mm,
But then it was just like, but what if?
yeah,
Uh, and what if I could challenge myself this way?
yeah.
And so the last New Year's Eve is when I did a last person standing for the first time.
Yeah, yeah. So it wasn't even 12 months ago. I saw that. Yeah.
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 And so that was my first introduction to this kind of loopy format.
Mm, mm. And you did 33 yards in that first one, right?
Yes, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Do you like, did you have a distance in mind or anything like that leading into the race? Like, did you think that you would easily do 24 or did you have a goal?
Well, I think going into any of these kind of races, it's like, I want to be the last person standing. That's the goal.
Yeah.
uh, um, and so what happens to get there though is always interesting. I think what I ended up facing with that one is I was just like, I'm going to just keep going until I can't go anymore. And it literally, like, that's what happened is I had actually been throwing up for like 9 hours,
Right.
the last 9 hours of that race.
Mm.
And my mental status was still super good. It was just more like my body just wouldn't go
Yeah.
anymore. Like it was like, we're done here.
Yeah.
And I timed out.
Yeah. Yeah. And was that first one like easier or harder than you expected? Was it different from what you expected, or was it kind of the same or
Well, now that I've experienced like a real backyard, I'm like, I would never go back to that.
right?
Because it was like 1.42 miles
Yeah.
and you had to do it every 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm I'm a bigger fan of this whole like 4.16 miles.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And with the first one, like, did you go in with a plan or strategy or anything like that?
Not, I mean, like always my first and number one goal with any race that I do is that I really want to have fun.
Yeah,
And I know that that's not really maybe what you're looking for when you ask me that question, but my if I'm not having fun, it's time to go home
yeah,
because it's a choice to show up to be there. And so that's my always my number one.
sure.
And then after that, it's like, okay, we're going to try these few things for fuel and hydration. And then when those usually stop working at some point, then we have plan B that we're going to revert into.
Yeah, sure. So as far as having fun goes, I mean, I think to you, what is having fun in a backyard ultra? Is it like talking to other runners or what is it?
Yes. I mean, I think it's getting to know the people around you, hearing their stories, listening to them, what's inspiring them, what's their goals. That's always so inspiring to me and insightful.
Mm,
And I think also, like, I get to choose to be there and play. Like, I love to have fun while I'm out there running. And so I think in this most recent one, every time we left the corral, we got to go down like this ditch.
right.
And every time I went down the ditch, I got a few people to participate with me, but we like pretended we were airplanes and we made airplane noises and stuff just to
Yeah,
have fun with it. And so um, that's what I mean by having fun is like,
yeah,
we get to move our bodies this way.
sure.
And it's such a privilege and I'm always so grateful.
Mm.
And I want to be able to also like take it a step further and just be silly with it when I can.
And were you even pretending to be airplanes like in the 60s? Or
Oh, it didn't even start, I don't think, until the 60s.
right.
I think it started around mile 60 or
Right.
like in the 60s, and then it went until probably like mile 220.
Right.
And then the Nick Peterson, the guy I was doing it with, we we both did something to our quad
Right.
during one of the yards. And so we were like, yeah, I think we need to rein it back just a little. So yeah.
Yeah. Um, so after your first backyard ultra, like what were your immediate thoughts after the race? Was it like, yeah, I can't wait to do that again, or did you kind of like put it on the back burner and think, I'll see how I go, or what?
It was more like I want to figure out how to do this better.
Right.
I want to figure out a better strategy.
Yeah.
And so I think that's each time we get it, like I get an opportunity to do a race, it's more like I want to go back to the drawing board and talk about like what worked really well, what didn't work well, and then how do I improve for next time.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So did you have a crew in that first one?
So when I are you talking about the across
Well,
the years, or you're talking about Babbitt's?
I'm talking about the New Year's Eve one. Your
Oh
first.
yeah,
Yeah.
that across the years. Yeah, so that one was my kids were there, my husband was there, and I had a friend, and my sister came in and out a little bit, so they kind of rotated around the clock.
Yeah, cool. So, I mean, you
Yeah.
just mentioned the thing about learning and improving and things like that. So, what were the biggest lessons you learned from that first one?
Um, well, in the beginning when you're moving super well, even though you're not tired yet, to like still take advantage, lay down, close your eyes, rest, put your feet up.
Yeah,
Even if it's for like 2 minutes, it it will conserve your energy. And it's not about going super fast. um it's really about like the longevity. And so how do you hold a really steady pace
yeah.
for as long as you can to conserve that? And then I think eating, eating,
Mm,
um eating early and often,
yeah,
especially like at the beginning when food's going down super well, like to take advantage of that.
yeah, nice. And you've made it clear on your Instagram page that you want to run for Team USA at the
Yeah.
Satellite World Champs. When did you find out about the qualifying process and everything like that?
Well, I think like where the spark came was when I want to say it was like this summer when I realized like, oh, this is, I've been a huge fan of Harvey Lewis for a really long time. And so just watching his journey,
Mm,
and I'm like, gosh, how do you do this? And then that kind of led into like, oh, this is how you qualify for something like this.
yeah.
And that led me to signing up for Babbitt's.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah, I saw Babbit that was just run in September, and that's a silver ticket race. So obviously,
Mhm.
that's what attracted you to running at that race, the silver ticket.
Yeah, and it's pretty local to where I
Right.
live.
Cool.
So it was really easy to get there
Yeah,
and have a crew and stuff like that.
yeah. Nice and convenient. So I
Yeah.
mean, you ran a nice new personal best of 38 yards. So I mean, how
Mhm.
would you summarize what went down at Babbitt's?
I mean, what I would say is that again, I had a lot of fun and I learned just a ton about, how my body is going to work under those sorts of conditions.
Yeah,
And I think the biggest thing I learned there was like that organization in this process is also really key. Like, because at some point your mental capacities are not spot on. And so being able to find things and know like what's what and what am I feeling with next is really key to doing well.
yeah,
Um, and then also just knowing like how to fight some of those mental battles that you're going to face.
sure.
I think the nighttime traditionally has been really difficult for me, and I let the nighttime get the best of me at Babbitt's.
Right. Okay. So it sounds like your race ended during the nighttime.
Yes, It was going into that second night that
Yeah.
I was like, it's cold. I'm really tired. I had really weird encounters with like this owl during multiple of the loops where it like swooped down right in front of me
Oh,
and scared me to death. But
yeah.
so it was more like that happened twice and I wasn't hallucinating it. It was actually happening.
Right.
And so that's when I was like, yeah, like after having a few of those encounters, and then really what took me out of that one is I lost like full control of my bladder. This has never happened to me before where I was just like peeing myself, but I didn't know I was peeing myself. And so I was like, my body's trying to tell me something. I probably should listen. And my heart rate wasn't coming down. It was staying super high even when I wasn't working very high or hard. So that's when I was like, I'm going to listen to what my body's signaling
Mm.
and decide to tap out.
Yeah, sure. So something I mean, when I talk to women who do backyard ultras, I mean, often the topic will come up about like toilets on course. Like with guys,
Hmm.
like they can just go anywhere, but it is harder for women because there's generally not many toilets on course. So, um, what like is that something to do with it, do you think, or was it just like an involuntary kind of issue?
Yeah, I honestly like it hasn't happened since.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. Like it could be a mixture of things, I'm sure. I think sometimes like when we stress our bodies and text it's going to send us signals to let us know
Hmm.
when it really needs to tap out and we can choose to listen or not.
Yeah.
So,
It looked like a pretty exposed, like a tough race, Babbitt's. Like it looked like it was very exposed with not much shade. Is that
oh
right?
yeah. Yes, but it's also up in Flagstaff area, so it's a little bit cooler.
Oh.
And it actually we had really great weather for it. During the day it was pretty nice and at night it was relatively cool. So and we got rained on just a little bit, but nothing bad.
Hmm. And what about crew? Like, did you like make any changes to how you were to your plan with your crew?
At Babbitt's?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I only had my husband there. And I told him he didn't need to show up until like 24-hour mark,
Oh,
just
right.
because I would rather have him be fresh
Yeah.
at that stage in the game, because I won't be fresh anymore.
Yeah.
And so he came in probably like 18 hours in and then just crewed me to the end.
Okay. So you were uncrewed for the first 18 hours or so
Yeah.
then. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Um, and what about like, were there any big learning things from Babbitt's as well that you took into the most recent Backyard Ultra?
Well, I think one thing that I learned is that I wasn't going to let myself keep telling myself that I struggle at nighttime.
Yeah.
Instead, I was going to flip that into I was going to own the night.
Yeah.
The night was going to be when I thrived. So I just kept telling myself, like, this is where you're going to thrive.
Mm.
And so going into the night, I actually got more excited to run because I had been just giving myself positive messages around what it was going to be like
Yeah.
versus like, your body knows when it's supposed to go to bed and it wants to listen to that normal routine that you fall into. But I was like, we're not listening to that routine.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
then I also like at the last dance, I had brought butterfly wings that lit up at nighttime that I wore because this is just another form of play, right? So I put on my cool butterfly wings that just made me laugh because it just brings out like the little kid and it gave me something to like be able to own the night.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So you actually
Yeah.
took the butterfly wings for that purpose.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
unreal. So Yeah, so we'll call it the Last Dance, but it's also known as Summit Backyard Ultra.
Correct.
And that's the one you recently ran in, which is another silver ticket race. So, and I get the impression that you went all in, guns blazing for that silver ticket, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was joking around with people when they were asking me like what my goal was as we were chatting at the beginning of the race. And I was like, well, I didn't fly here from Arizona to leave without the silver coin. So, um, and it was a little cocky, but at the same time, like that's really where my heart was
Yeah,
from the very beginning.
yeah. And as far as like training goes, like, did you approach it any differently as leading into the race, as far as like your training block or anything like that goes?
So, a couple times my coach had me go out and he had me like simulate a backyard. So for, 5 to 6 hours
Yeah,
to go out, run the 4.16 break, nutrition, hydration, and then don't go again until the top of the hour.
right.
So just like to replicate it and then really pay attention to like how I was fueling
Yeah,
and what was working and what wasn't.
yeah. Okay. Now you mentioned that you flew there. So does that mean like you had crew that flew there with you as well?
So I I went into this race not really knowing if I was going to have any crew,
Wow.
um, which has pros and cons to it. My in-laws live in Austin, Texas, but they've never been to an ultra marathon. They have no idea what a backyard is. So I had like zero expectation that I mean I had expectation that they would maybe show up and cheer me on a little bit, but not like crew because I didn't want to have to train anybody to crew. And so um they stepped in and then I had a girlfriend that was from high school that saw on Instagram that I was going to be there. And I hadn't seen her for 15 years, but she showed up and she crewed for a night. So that was super fun.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
But I went not knowing that.
yeah, yeah, awesome.
Mhm.
And so you went into the race like fully committed to doing the whole thing without a crew, just on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, awesome. Did you know any of the runners in the race, either personally or just like by name, like you'd heard of them?
Before getting there,
Yeah,
I had heard of their names um, because I had like looked into who won the previous years and such, but I had never met any of them in person before.
yeah. So like you didn't look at the names in the race and think, oh, no, I know they can go far. I know they can go far, and have an idea of how deep the race would go.
No, I like to go into it more blind than that
Yeah,
because, I think we can build things up in our head. If we see a name and then we do all the research and we're like, "Oh my gosh, they've gone this far before. They could do this." Yeah, they could. But I've also seen people who can do things like that, not have a good race.
yeah.
And so, I just go into it knowing who I am and what I'm capable of and what my goals are
Mm.
and I let them show up however they're going to show up.
Yeah, awesome. Now, with the crew situation, do you think,
Mhm.
do you think to yourself, I'm really glad that they were there because if they didn't rock up, I wouldn't have done as well as I did. Like, were they, was it a lifesaver having people coming through for you?
There were definitely points where it was a lifesaver.
Yeah,
uh, and there were definitely points where when I was out on my loop, I would call a friend or I would call, like, I have a list of people that are like my go tos
yeah,
when I'm doing hard things that I can call that are like, they're going to tell me the right things. So between being able to count on my in-laws to like fill up water bottles and make sure I was eating, and then being able to count on my friends that are my go-tos
yeah,
when I'm out on the course and maybe struggling a bit, that's that's what I do.
yeah. And did your in-laws like, did you tell them no matter what I do, don't let me stop? Like, did you tell them anything like that?
Yeah, I'm like stopping is really not an option.
Yeah,
Um, and the people that are on my call list, like they know kind of like what my mantras are for the race. And so I usually have like just a handful of mantras And if they could remind me when I'm like lost in the sauce, when I'm out there of like, they remember this is what you said.
Yeah.
Um, or like, this is when you need to pull this out.
Mm.
And I think having people in your life who can say the hard things to you, even when you don't want to hear it, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. Were there any particular mantras that worked really well for this one?
um, yes, I think I had actually had a therapy session like prior in the week to coming out to do this this backyard, and in that therapy session really what had come out was like that I needed to love myself, but it was he had me picture myself as an infant in a crib, and he was like, I want you to picture that infant in the crib, and I want you to tell her that you can't love her until she wins, and I want you to tell her you can't love her until she's the last person standing. And I was like, I would never do that, like that's awful. And and so he's like, but that's what you're doing to yourself. You're saying you can't love you until you win. You're saying you can't, you won't be good enough until you're the last person standing. And so one of the main mantras that I took into this one was that the goal of like loving myself, no matter what the outcome is. Um, it's not about performance. It's just about loving right where I am.
Mm. Yeah. Nice. And I guess runners in backyard ultras who are aiming to go far, they'll find the first 24 hours a bit of a mental grind. So, how did you find the first 24 hours at Last Dance? No problem.
Um, I don't think it's the first 24 for me.
Yeah.
I think it's like, so for me, I think doing the loop format is really meditative for me. Like I can just, I'm not going to get lost. It just feels like I get to know the course super well, and I know my footing, and I just keep like going. So then I can get really deep into like my thought process. I can get really deep into like prayer. And that sort of stuff is like, it's just really easy for me to occupy those loops in that way. It's usually when I start to get really tired.
Yeah.
Like at this one at the end, I was laughing at myself because I just couldn't help it. I was running in zigzags because I just couldn't run straight anymore.
Oh,
It was like I was drunk, but I really wasn't. I was just really tired.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, I mean, sleeping even just a little bit between loops helps a lot, like you mentioned before.
Mhm.
So, I mean, how did you go with your sleeping at the Last Dance?
Yeah, it was the same thing. I would, like at the beginning, come in, put my feet up, try to relax, and close my eyes for a few minutes. And I think I did pretty well with that within the first couple of nights. Um, but then fatigue just catches up to you.
Yeah, for sure. Um,
Mhm.
so your best result before the Last Dance was 38 at Babbitt's. How
Hmm.
how did you feel at the 38 yard mark at the Last Dance compared to how you felt at Babbitt's?
I felt so good. Um, because I had learned so much about hydration and nutrition at that point, and I
Yeah,
had found some really key things that were working for me.
yeah,
And so the level of energy I still had at yard 38 was like, wow, I feel so much better.
yeah. How good's that? And physically, like, do you kind of like remember when things started feeling really hard physically?
So I would say between like, I'm going to say mile 230 to 250
Right.
is when I was like, yeah, I'm starting to feel stuff.
Yeah,
And it's not feeling as comfortable as it was before.
yeah. So this is like in the like in the early 50s.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I saw some footage on Instagram pretty deep in the race as well, where it was raining pretty heavily.
that was the worst part for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I at one point I was like full on sobbing because I was like it was pouring rain and it had just accumulated so fast that there was puddles and mud everywhere. And so your footing, it was like kind of slippery and um yeah, it was just like there was nowhere you could like save your shoes even a little bit. You just had to go through it.
Yeah.
And there was like one, and it was cold. And so there was one point where I just like called one of my friends and was like, I'm just gonna cry and I'm gonna tell you how horrible this is.
Yeah.
And and so I did, and I was like full on like hyperventilating. I was crying so hard. And then it was like, okay, that's done. I'm over with it and I can move on now. So, because I also believe once you get it out of your body, out of your system, then it doesn't like hold space anymore and you can just keep going.
Sure. Now, I reckon during that time, that would have been a really important time to have crew there. So, were there people in your marquee, like making sure you,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. And they had been so delightful. They had like moved stuff so that it wasn't going to get soaking wet.
yeah,
And yeah, they were wonderful.
yeah,
But I just decided to keep everything wet on until it had passed because they had looked at the weather and said it's not going to last super long. So I just kept everything soaked until the sun came out, and then it was like, okay, I can do this again.
yeah. And is one of the reasons why you waited, is it because like you wanted, like, did you have enough pair of like dry socks with you or,
So I had plenty of socks, and I had 5 pairs of shoes that I rotated through.
yeah,
But I only wanted one pair to get soaking wet. Because once they're soaking wet, you're done. Like they're not probably drying out for the rest of the race.
yeah,
And so I figured if I just had one designated to be super wet shoes, then I could save the other 4.
yeah. I
And
saw,
so,
yeah, I saw Mark Dowdall, who was the last one standing. He posted a video of his feet straight
yeah.
after the race, and, and like they were like trench foot, I think it's called. Like, did
Mm.
you have any issues? Did the rain cause any issues for you like that?
No, because I try to. So I actually in this race I usually do like every 50 miles a shoe change and a sock change,
Yeah,
but I actually did it more frequent during this race. I did it every probably 20 miles,
yeah,
and because I don't want to have feet problems, I ended up with a couple gnarly blisters, which usually doesn't happen either, but I think it was just because of the moisture.
for sure. And I mean, you completed 67 loops. Did you
Hmm.
have any idea during that 67th loop that it was going to be your last one?
Yeah. That's a really good question. So I had gotten to know Mark while we were out there. And like I told you earlier, like I love connecting with people. I love hearing their stories. And as much as I love the idea of being on the USA team and having the silver coin, I also I say this all the time to people is I would rather have a friend than have a coin or a place or a medal or a buckle because that's how important connection is to me. And so I had shared that with Mark and I had heard his story and I was like, oh my gosh, like he's 28 years old. He has like the rest of his life ahead of him. And if he gets to be on this USA team, like it could change the trajectory of his life.
Hmm.
Like, and there's like excitement in that for me. And I was like, remembering like everything that I already have going for me and how good life already is for me. And so I was just out there on that last loop and was just like remembering how blessed I am and how grateful I am to be here and in this place. And um then in that place I just prayed and I just said like, God, if it's your will, like I want, you know how bad I want this coin. Like you know how bad I want to be on this team. And if it's not your will, that's okay. And there was a very clear like you need to turn around. You're done. Like when I went out on that 68th loop, um he like God was like turn around, so I did. And um I knowing that like I was gonna get to watch Mark win and get to watch his wife watch him win was like that brings more joy to me than anything. And so yeah, going back and choosing to like let him have it was it was like an act of surrender for me.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, a few days have passed now since the race. So it sounds like you're totally at peace about how the race ended. Then, like you don't wish you went out for one more or anything like that.
I'm gonna also be so I had more peace about it that night.
Yeah,
It was like 3:30 in the morning, I think, is when we timed or when I chose to come back. And
yeah,
so I had more peace about it then than I did like 24 hours later. I was like, oh my gosh. Because I really wanted to go after it. So I not gonna lie, have already been looking at like, okay, so I have I'm doing Cocodona in 2026. But I've been looking at like, okay, what backyards would make sense to go after that silver coin one more time
mm,
before or after, just so that my body is at its prime.
sure.
So
So, I mean, you absolutely smashed your previous personal
yeah.
best at Summit. So, was there anything that you think that helped you that you did that helped you go further than you'd ever been before? Was it mainly the
Mhm.
mental side of things? That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I would tell any ultra runner or person aspiring to be an ultra runner, ultra running is like 80% mental
Mm,
and 20% your conditioning. Like, yes, you have to be fit and you have to do training, but if your brain is not ready for you will know very quickly if your mental status is going to make it or not.
mm.
So, yeah, I worked really hard on it.
Yeah. So if you had to pinpoint one area where you think you can improve the most for your next backyard, what
Mm.
would that be,
Mm. Um,
if anything?
like I think overall the whole thing went so well.
Yeah.
Like I haven't really, done a autopsy of the race completely yet because I'm still actually catching up on sleep. So, um, but what I would say is like, gosh, if I could dial in even the nutrition more than I already did, getting some more calories there towards the end would have probably really benefited me.
Yeah. I mean, 67 yards, it's an awesome performance.
Thank you.
Did you, I mean, you probably do know, but did you know there are only five women who have ever run more than 67?
I didn't know that until the race director actually told us at some point. And then I was like, no, that's not real. And I had to go look myself
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yes. And there were all five of them are like legends of the sport. So,
Hmm.
and I mean, you've come so far in such a short amount of time. So a backyard's going to be, I mean, now you know how good you are at them. Like, are they going to
Hmm.
be more of a focus for you for a while?
Yeah, no, I'm not like, it's still my dream to be on the USA team. It's still my dream to get the silver ticket, and I'm not going to give up until that happens.
Yeah.
And like I said, I love it. I love being out there in this format. It just like fits for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. So at Babbitt's, Ryan Snickles was the last one standing with 55,
Mhm.
and at
Yeah.
Last Dance, Mark was the winner on 68. And they both look like they're capable of going well beyond those
Hmm.
kind of numbers. So, I mean, how far do you reckon they can go?
I mean, I got to watch. I stayed at Babbitt's even after I was done to watch Cody and Ryan continue, and it was so cool to watch.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know how much further he could have gone because he looked pretty tore up at the end. So I don't know. I think it's one of those things that we can put on a poker face of what we can look like on the outside, but we don't reflect necessarily what's happening on the inside for us.
Hmm.
And so I don't know. I would say in my head, I thought like 300 miles was probably like the tipping point.
Hmm. Hmm. So you mentioned Harvey Lewis before, and I
Mhm.
mean, and there's so many legends on that USA team, like Megan
Yeah.
Eckert and Scott Snell, John Knoll. Um, have you met any of them in real life yet?
So I did get to run Bigfoot with Harvey.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I didn't even really actually know who he was when I was running with him until afterwards.
Yeah,
But yeah, but no, I don't know any of them personally, and I'd be so excited to get to run with him at any point.
yeah, awesome. Now, you mentioned you're going to keep going for a spot on Team USA. That's
Mhm.
67. Like, it could be enough to get you on the at-large list, depending on how results at the silver tickets fall. So, but I mean, I know you want to cement your spot by getting that silver ticket by getting yourself a silver ticket. Um,
Mhm.
so I've got the list of the silver ticket races, and I'll just say them, and you just tell me how likely you are to maybe do it.
Okay. Okay.
So there's Queenie in February.
That's a silver ticket race?
Yeah.
Where is that one?
Ooh,
Ooh.
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that one.
Okay.
Um, no, I know
I
it's in February though.
It's in February. Okay. I'm gonna look it up as you're telling me the next one.
Yeah. There's Banana Slug in April.
Hmm. I won't do that one because it's too close to Cocodona.
Okay. What month does Cocodona start?
May, the beginning of
Oh,
May.
okay. So that would rule out Capital in May then.
So no, because Capital this year is in March.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I looked at it already.
Oh, so that could be a maybe.
That could be a maybe.
Yeah, that would be a good one because that one always goes long as well. So if you ran 72 yards, for example, there, I mean, that would get you on the team, even if you weren't the last one standing. Um,
Mm.
Ode to Laz in July.
Uh, in Michigan. Yes, that was the other one I was looking at.
Okay. And I haven't heard of this one up before. Tartarus in August.
Tartar?
Yeah, Tartarus. Tartarus.
Hmm. I mean, so the ones that I could do are the ones that are, like I said, not close to Cocodona.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see where this Queenie's one is. Um, oh, that one looks like it's in March, not in February.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I think the one that would probably make the most sense, just to make sure that there's enough recovery time, would be the one in Michigan, the Ode to Laz.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
And will that is that close enough for you to drive, or would you have to fly to that one
Oh,
again?
I'd have to fly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And what about at your next one? Have you started thinking about if you'll change the crew situation? Just have someone there crewing for you for the whole race?
Um, when it comes to these things, I think I'm more focused on what I have control of
Yeah,
versus what's outside of my control.
yeah.
And the crew situation is outside of my control.
Mm,
And so I always kind of throw it out there like whoever is meant to be there is going to be there.
mm,
And if no one's meant to be there, like we'll make it happen.
yeah.
Um, and so I I would love if I could have my people there and for them to rotate through because crewing is an exhausting job.
Mm,
And so I also want to be mindful of like not having the same people just like tapped out, that they can rest and, shower and take care of themselves as well.
mm.
Because that's a long time to be out there.
Yeah. I mean, you must be really organized, like to go into these races without relying on a crew. Like, how do you do it? Like, how do you manage what's happening inside your marquee when you don't have a
Mm.
crew? Like, how do you like put everything so it's close enough just to get and don't have to move around much?
Yeah, so I learned about the shoe organizer that everybody seems to have, like the
Oh,
thing that hangs.
yeah.
Um, that's been really helpful. The other thing I do is I have a spreadsheet that like is per loop. Like this is what you're going to eat, this is what you're going to do, this is when you're going to change. Um, and so basically all I have to do is look at the spreadsheet and say like this is what I'm eating right now. Okay. It's a grab, eat, consume, go. And then usually at the beginning of the races, if I'm out there by myself, I just make sure that I'm like taking the empty bottles right away and refilling them so that there's multiple going on at the same time. So that later in the race, when I'm more tired, I can just grab and go.
Hmm. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, so at the end of the podcast, Stephanie, I always ask my guests for their three backyard ultra tips. What would
Hmm.
your three backyard ultra tips be?
I think one, find your why. Why are you showing up to this thing? What's going to keep you going when it gets hard? Because it's going to get hard at some point. But what's the one thing you can go back to and just rely on to keep you moving? And then I think two, remember that like every low point is followed by a high point. So
Mm,
just ride out the wave of the low point because the high point's right around the corner.
yeah,
And then I think the third thing is like to have your people, whether it's actually in person or just on the phone.
yeah,
Um, have your people that you can call. If you can't have people out there with you, who are the people who are going to love on you and support you, even if they can't be there in person?
yeah. Awesome. And how have you pulled up? Have you started running again yet? Or
I went cycling today. Um, my right side, like my right hamstring, is still just a little angry at me. So we're just kind of baby it for a little while. But Tuesday is supposed to be the first day I go back to running.
yeah, okay. And what races do you have locked in for the next few months?
So the my next big thing is Cocodona, and I'll probably throw in, little like I'll do races for training runs, but nothing other than Cocodona right now.
Yeah, awesome.
Mhm.
Well, thanks heaps for coming on the podcast.
Yes, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, no, and congratulations on that result, 67 yards. Like I said before, it is like an awesome performance.
Thank
And
you.
you ran your first backyard like less than 12 months ago. So, and it sounds like you've got a great attitude. So I reckon you've got heat. You can go a lot further than that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll definitely be following along.
Thank you.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks again for coming along, and we'll definitely stay in touch.
Okay, that sounds lovely.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Bye bye.